He's doing all right. But no, I think as a player group we knew the change was happening. I think had it been a short shrift or overnight, it would have been difficult to adapt, as stuff when you're short notice can be. But Wayne, in fairness, and Gats and the union have been sensitive towards the players and the integration and the opportunity that Wayne's had to bring in his management and get that settled. And obviously that Barbers week has proved invaluable because we do feel like we're a week ahead already, having 2 training days of the squad. So it is change for everyone, but it's an exciting time to be part of a young, vibrant squad with a lot to prove.
Wayne, for yourself, we've seen you a couple of times in the new role. Does it all feel a bit more real when you come here, your first Six Nations campaign?
Yeah, certainly it's getting a lot closer, isn't it? It's it's exciting times, as Alun Wyn mentioned. It's been a long time sort of sitting in the background for me personally, but it's been a good time as well. It's been a time where we could do a lot of planning behind the scenes, looking ahead to the World Cup in 2023, but certainly this Guinness Six Nations is just around the corner now, and everyone's very, very excited by the opportunity.
Wayne, is there any sense of trepidation at all? Because you're testing yourself now at a really new level, isn't it? So are you questioning yourself more and more about whether I got this right?
No, I think really there's, as I say, we've had a period of time now together as a coaching group, the group that we've put together, which is an exciting group, very, very compatible group, and the guys are feeding off each other really, really well. So from our point of view, it's, we've had plenty of time to plan. We've had the Barbars game, which just been mentioned, and that was invaluable for us. So, we've had a lot of firsts out of the way. First time with the group, first time in training, first time in front of the group, addressing them, and first time in the changing room and the training week. So from our point of view, that's been fantastic, and now it's really rolling our sleeves up, and it started on Monday with the squad that we've announced. So no, it's one where we're quietly confident that we've got a good group of players together that are going to work really, really hard. Yeah, Lewis picked up a bit of a bump last week. He's worked well with the medical team, and he'll be back hopefully training this morning, doing some running with the boys. So he'll go back to his club this weekend, and we'll get him back next week. Liam is on for round 2 of the competition. He won't make the Italian match, but is on track for Ireland in round 2.
Louis Rees-Summit and Nick Tompkins have obviously impressed you enough for them to come into the squad. Have they impressed you in training so far?
Yeah, we haven't seen Louis. As I say, he was having a run this morning, coming back from that knock he took on the weekend, but certainly as an individual, meeting him for the first time, rather than just talking to him over the phone, and he's a young man that's confident, and he should be because he's playing well, and he's a fresh young face. It's great to see him in the environment. Nick Tompkins has settled in very, very quickly. You can see that he's got a lot of experience. He's played with a lot of quality players around him, so coming into the international environment for him, I think, has been a pretty simple adjustment.
Right, there's someone from overseas who's actually looked on from the outside. What's special about this competition, and what's different and exciting about it?
Well, I've watched it from afar, as you say, for many, many years, and it's been something that, from an outsider's point of view, just the environment, the day itself. When I've gone and watched Six Nations games since being in Wales, just the whole day, the build-up. If you're at the Principality in Cardiff, it's just the atmosphere that the fans, the away fans, bring. Southern Hemisphere, you've got to travel a bit more, so you don't get the same mix, which brings something special. I think you have a fantastic occasion the whole day, so it's something that I'm certainly looking forward to being involved in.
Wayne, most people speaking of play wide open, expansive style of rugby. How does it compete to get across everything?
Yeah, well, look, Wales have won the competition last year playing the way they played, and for any team to win the competition, you've got to be playing pretty well. So what we've done is we've come in and had a look and just asked the question, really, how can we add value? So we're looking at a couple of areas where we think we can add some value, and we're looking at the attack and evolving that over time. It won't happen overnight. When we went into the Scarlets, it took a few years before we got it sort of how we were comfortable playing the game. So, as players in a management group together. So, it will take time, but it's certainly something we're looking to evolve over a period.
When you look at the team you'd like to pick for the ACL, which are the areas that are causing you already the most headaches, which are going to be particularly difficult decisions?
Yeah, we're looking at the enthusiasm at training at the moment. They all want it quite. You can see that everybody wants to be a part of that first game. We talked a bit about that yesterday before training, and we had, I thought, a very, very good session. So look, it's going to be an interesting selection. We've obviously it's game one. We want to put on a good performance, a strong performance at home in front of our fans. So we'll be putting out a side, I think, that we believe hopefully can get the job done, but to also put on a very good performance. We'll need that to go into round 2 against Ireland.
A lot's been touched on just now about sort of the newness of the squad with Wayne and some of the younger players going in. What does that ask of you as a captain?
I think with the makeup of the group, with a lot of guys that have evolved in the last year, guys that have come back from injury, guys that have come back into contention. The makeup of the group isn't just the players, it's the management as well. As a captain, it makes my job easier. I've also got learn a few more tricks. The energy's there. I say it makes it easier because the energy's there. I've got to keep with the young guys. If we are going to evolve the game, then like I say, there's probably a few more things to adapt to, and that's what you want to do. I think I was questioned earlier about desire and why do you keep going. I just remember why I started. I want to play rugby. I want to be involved with Wales, and it is the phrase has already been said. It's Wayne's world now, and I'm looking forward what's to come.
Wayne, describes a bit of a chaotic couple of weeks. How is he coming into camp in terms of his frame of mind, and how does he look from what you've seen so far in training?
Yeah, very experienced player. British Lions come back into it. So the question is, where is he at in terms of his fitness levels to play? Well, he looked very sharp yesterday. I can say that he trained very, very well. But it was just the communication, level of communication that he brings and that experience challenging other senior players during the training session, which I think is a fantastic thing. Keeps everybody on their toes. And as a 9, you really want that guy that's barking the instructions, if you like. And, 9s and 10s have a role to play in terms of delivering, the patterns and the plays that we want to use. So I think that experience was seen yesterday in training already.
Wayne, you've brought in Sam Wilson into your coaching staff. You've got Martin in the back room as well. What's it like having those guys to bring the continuity from the previous setup? And Alun Wyn, what's it like working with Sam now that he's wearing a tracksuit and not with you?
Yeah, well, firstly, the Sam one, I sat down with a lot of people. I had sort of a 12-month lead-in, so Sam was one of the people I spoke to just around the environment that he was involved with, some of the things that he really relished and enjoyed in that environment, and some of the things if he had the opportunity that he may change, and the reasons for that. So just a lot of homework was being done, really. And it became apparent to me very quickly in the conversation that he felt that he still had a lot to offer. He was obviously doing some media work, and he would watch a game and he a little bit frustrated at some of the things he was seeing and felt that he could add some value, and he wanted to know at what entry point I thought that he could come into the game, whether that's under 20s or at a club. And so we had a meeting about 2 days later, and I felt that actually he could add something right now with his experience. And I think Alan can talk but from a player's point of view, but already the enthusiasm that he's going to bring and the experience that he has in the area of the breakdown and the decision-making process around that breakdown area, I think is going to be very beneficial for us.
Well, like you say, we've got a wealth of ex-internationals, having played myself with Steve, Martin, Sam. It's nice to have them within the environment. But we all know Sam's qualities as a player. I think as a coach, it's probably going to be two-pronged. He's obviously going to help Byron in the defensive side of things, the tackle area. But also I think his role with the mentoring, particularly because we've got a lot of young back row at the minute. And that's not just that have been named in the squad, but into the regions as well. And I think when you have so many that could be operating at a particular level, you need someone to guide as many guys as we have to have that point of difference. And that's going to be invaluable, like I say, because that competition is so vast in that back row. To have someone like Sam that's able to, really help these guys come on and help individuals put their hand up is going to be massive.
I think also with Martin, it's the off-field stuff with the new players coming into the environment as well. He's been there and done that as a player, so he knows exactly what they're going through. So the experience that he brings as a former player and captain of the side, he can help the young players. He can also have a coffee with Alun Wyn and the experienced boys as well, because he knows exactly what everyone's going through. So I think he's going to add a lot of value as well.
When you're the title holders and reached the World Cup semi-final, you're down as third favourites of the bookies. Is that something you're quite happy with, or what's your take on that?
Yeah, look, we had a quick chat as a squad the other day around. Someone used the terminology of we're defending this trophy. We look at it that we're a new management group. There's some new players. Yes, there are some players that have won it, but we want to go out there now, like every other team, and try and win it this year. So we're no different from any other side, but we certainly don't see ourselves as defending it. We've got to go out there and win it and play some good rugby along the way. So that's really the sort of line that we're taking with the boys.
When you're done with Scots, how do you understand the expectation and outcomes with the role you have?
Yeah, look, I think 5 years in Wales as a leader has been fantastic to understand the culture, understand what rugby means to the nation. It's very, very similar to New Zealand, where it's the number one sport. It can change the vibe of a nation overnight, with a good result. Productivity goes through the roof. With a poor result, I think there's a few sore heads on a Monday and productivity goes down a little bit. So we understand the role we play within the community, and certainly that was evident in the Scarlets, and this, obviously everything goes up tenfold from there from a national point of view.
Alun Wyn, there's a big core of players, despite all the new faces that played in the World Cup. When you last lost the semi-final, you went on to win the Grand Slam. Although you've had a break to kind of digest it, can you use the host of the World Cup as a driving force as a group?
I think you'd have to ask the individual. I think as a group we established what we want to achieve before that. We didn't do that, and we move on. I think it is a lot of change now, as has been already mentioned, and to a point we have to cut ties with that. We know what we can achieve and what areas we can or what level we can operate at. And again, go back to with the amount of change we have, it's going to be a bumpy road. We're not going to shy away from that. But as individuals, you come back in with an outlook, with a breath of fresh air, really, in regards to, well, that's gone, we've got to move forward. If you continue looking over your shoulder, you're going to slow yourself down. So you have to ask the individual on regards to that. You see players that go through the jersey, but ultimately it's that time of year. You get Christmas, and then there's only one thing better than Christmas, and that's the Six Nations. And that's where we find ourselves on the cusp of another one. I think the competitiveness year on year, we always say it, you'll say it grows. As a spectacle, it grows. And it's no different to this year for the World Cup year. A lot of changes at coaches, captain, and new faces. It adds for another successful competition.
When you mentioned last week, what game you back in light training? It's the first game he might be available for.
He'll take part hopefully in full training next week. So he's on the improve, obviously. Running straight line running yesterday. So yeah, hopefully he'll be up and running next week. Possibly available for round one, but more than likely round two.
Sorry, do you think starting against Italy in your championship is the ideal way to start a championship, or is still?
Yeah, for us, a home game was a preference. With it being Italy, I think two teams, new coaches. So I think looking at previous sides that have been coached by the new coach, you're going to look at a bit of ball movement, I would suggest. So, depending if the roof's on or off, I think, and the weather, we should be in for an entertaining game, and I think it's a perfect start for the competition for us.
So do you expect anything from, as you said, Italy now that we settled up as a new head coach? Do you expect some kind of different style of playing or anything?
Yeah, well, I think traditionally, if you look at the teams that he's coached, they've moved a lot of ball. So I don't think that will change. Time will tell, but certainly we'll expect that, which, as I say, could be making the makings of a very entertaining game. We'll certainly be looking to, as I said earlier, evolve our attack, but it'll be horses for courses, and I think it'll be an entertaining game. Let's put it that way.
Another question for you, Alan.
He's a unknown quantity, a character, a good teammate, obviously on the Lions. But he's been one of their stand-up performers, if not the stand-up performer in a Scottish jersey in recent years. And for all the smiles and laughs he might give you, he's a serious competitor. And he's that totem they can use to move forward. Obviously, there's a few teams that would have wanted to achieve more in the last 6 months. Ourselves being one as well, but obviously Hoggy's got the armband now. And he's arguably, like I say, been one of the most exciting players in the Northern Hemisphere in the last 4 or 5 years. So it was probably a natural progression for him.
Can I get your both point of view on the French team and what they think about Galtier and maybe Oliver?
Well, I think when he was at Toulon, he had a very strong side there, put together a very good team, had good results. I think you can see a blend of the future. Young players, the French under-20s have won the World Championship the last couple of years. They've got some really exciting players coming through and some exciting young players that played at the World Cup. So, look, I think that they are a very dangerous side going forward and a side that we'll certainly be respecting. It'll be an interesting selection with the squad that he's picked.
Yeah, I echoed Wayne's points with an added one that they've got a defence coach that we know a little bit about. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do in terms of France without the ball. So it's an exciting time for them, but obviously we're very wary of the threat that they pose in the competition.
Wayne, Eddie's going to be unleashing the greatest rugby the world's ever seen. Do you feel you're underselling your own talent?
It's day one for me, isn't it? I suppose when I've been involved in a World Cup win and a few other things like Eddie, if you're ever lucky enough to do that, you can make some pretty bold statements. But look, Eddie's earned the right to do that. He's been around the game at the top level and been successful. So, it's interesting times and after a World Cup. They've made some changes, and so clearly they're looking at the future as well.
You've got the benefit of playing 3 games at home against the Blues this season, but you've also got to play England and Ireland away. What do you think of the schedule as a whole this time around?
Yeah, well, history would say it's a tough one in terms of winning a competition and then backing it up, because I don't think it's been done before from a Welsh point of view. So therein lies a challenge for us, and it's something that we'll be doing our utmost to sort of create some history, if you like, within the competition. So it's going to be tough. We know that with Ireland and England away, but certainly we think the way the games are spaced out in terms of the order of the matches, it's quite a nice order for us.